On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline.
So I had many women in business. I had, they were service providers, but they weren't people who were thinking about creating a course. And they weren't people who necessarily were at that point where they were like, yeah, this program or course, it's not selling. And I need help, because I think that's such a key thing, right? You have to be very humble. So like for me to be able to come to you, Jenny, and say, look, here are my goals, right? I want to get leads. I want to increase my list, but I'm going to be honest with you. The people on my list right now are the wrong people. We're going to need to do some work there. That's a humbling thing, because you have to admit to yourself, like, I've got this list, but it's not doing anything for me. Right. And so the people on my list weren't necessarily ready to admit that. They were also people who, weren't going in the same direction I was, and they're not really interested in building their business and building their authority in the way that I'm teaching. Right. Because as you guys both know, I don't say like, hey, yeah, go network, spend 50 hours a week, networking at coffee dates. That's not my thing. My thing is, here, let's figure out how to use other people's platforms in the online space to grow your business, as well as some of the other stuff that I teach. So, there was also that where they just weren't interested in doing it the way I was going to teach them how to do it. And so, it was freeing to say goodbye to them.
It is freeing. And Jenny and I have talked about that a lot, about lovingly letting people go and wishing them nothing but the best, but saying, I can't help you with what you want. Earlier, or, a few sentences ago or paragraphs ago, you mentioned that it's humbling to come and ask for help. And you're right. It is a humbling experience as someone who understands how to grow and how to market online. What made you willingly take that experience and reach out to Jenny and I for help with your summit?
Yeah. And I think it's also about, like, it's not just asking for help, but it's also being ready to say, like, this isn't serving me and I need to look outside myself to solve it. Right? Because a lot of the time we don't want to tackle the fact that something's not working because we put all this time into it. Where really, for me, it was more, I want this to be successful. I want to get on the right track. I don't have time to mess around. And so it was very much like, for example, Allison, when you and I met, I was like, hey, like, I need to talk to you about the copy. And I said, it's not just the conversion copy for the upsell to the VIP package. It's even just the free copy. And we talked about my opt-in rates for other free downloads and lead magnets that I had done. And I said to you, like, look, we're looking at like 20%. And that's not a very great opt-in rate, especially when we look at our summit numbers and what we got. And so for me, it was very much like, I am not a copywriter. This is not my zone of excellence. I want this to convert. I want to get the right people on my list because I have plans and I have products and offers coming up that I need the right people on my list for. And if all my other, opt-in and landing pages were only for free product, we're only getting a 20% conversion, then it's time to get somebody who actually knows what they're doing so I can focus on what I do.
And that's awesome, because it's not where we always start out. And sometimes we have to go through that process of having something convert at 20% before we realize that we need some support. So what do you think may have happened if you tried to launch this summit completely on your own? Because you are completely capable. I want everybody to know, you know the tech, you know how to write, you know how to do video, you know how to do speaker management. Like, it's not outside of your ability to do this because you are skilled. But what do you think would have happened if you hadn't?
I think a couple of things would have happened. I think I probably wouldn't have necessarily finished it, because working with Jenny had a built-in accountability in it. I definitely would not have reached out at the level for speakers that I did. And I think that having speakers, and I had a great group of speakers who all promoted and brought, their absolute A game to the promotion as well as the summit itself, and engaged with people during the summit, I would not have done that. And that was a big key to success. And I think absolutely the conversion, and so those two things would have brought the traffic down, right? And then the conversion, right? I would have had another summit where the sales page converted at 20%. And, would I have gotten the right people there as well? And so I think that that's very key because Jenny, as you know, I think we converted at about 80% on the opt-in of the summit.
88.
Right?
88.
That's a huge difference. And of course, by having my speakers, that 88%, these were speakers that I picked who I knew had my target audience sitting in their audience. So it was 88%, which is a great conversion rate, but 88% of the right people. And Allison created copy that was that spoke to me. We worked on it together to make sure that it was, it was me, but it also attracted people who were like, yes, I'm having this problem, because those are the people that I'm going to be helping.
I have to say, this is the first time that I've heard the final number. Holy guacamole.
Right?
That is so cool that opt-in rate is so high. And I think, Jenny, is that the highest one we've gotten?
That is the highest. So yes, the answer is yes, but it's also the highest one that we've maintained. So normally what happens in a summit is in the beginning, your opt-in page converts at like 40 or 50, maybe 30%. And then it kind of peaks up a little bit and then it maybe goes down a little bit. But this maintained the whole time above 80%. And then not only that, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but the take-through rate to upgrade to the VIP was similarly bananas. So we can talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, it's this is the highest converting summit that I think I've ever done, and I've done over 300.
So, and I think that that's not just the copy and that's not just the design. And, of course, my ego wants to take all of the credit for Jenny and myself, but it really comes down to having that clarity that you came to it with, Samantha, understanding exactly who you were going after and being very crystal clear, not only about why you wanted them on your list, but what was going to happen with them after, what your plans are. And, Jenny talked about it earlier, that planning for success, setting yourself up allows the strategy to go in a way that makes it more successful. And so you can help more course creators get the sales that they want. Ultimately, that's what you deliver to people, is help them get those sales. Right.
Yeah. And I think it's so key too, when we look at the success of it, like you said, there was the planning, of course, the speakers and all the hard work they put in, but that's also something that Jenny helped me with throughout the process, was finding the right speakers. Because, you can put in a Facebook group, hey, I have a call for speakers, but you have to find the right people who are going to bring the magic that my speakers brought. And it's also too, when you said the design, like, it's not just the design of like the graphics and what they're going to look like, or the design of the run of show, as Jenny calls it, like how everything's going to run, but it's also those little things, like on the sales page, how are we going to lay things out? And then, when it comes to the actual, like, a day one speaker page, how are we going to lay that out for success? And the beauty of working with Jenny was she tested all of that. I don't have while I'm running a summit, but also that's not my zone of excellence. It's not my area of expertise. And when you're running a summit, you don't have time to check all that stuff. Like, is it converting? Should we make a tweak on this page? Like, how does it, right? And so that was really, from both of your experiences in running these summits and seeing what works and how things convert. And the most important thing that I see with professionals out there who are trying to work even in the areas that you're working in is that they're not focusing on conversion. They don't have the numbers to back it up. And they're not able to say, like, I can tell you right now that when you lay out your page this way, it's going to convert, because Jenny loves numbers, right? It's going to convert 15% less better than this one over here, right?
Absolutely. And, it's so funny. You're like, yeah, you love numbers. We don't like to give hard data because everybody's audience is different. Every client comes with different everything. But the truth is, certain ways are going to convert better than others. And you were awesome. So what was it like working with us? Was there anything that surprised you about either running a summit or working with someone like us, or any of it?
I think, yeah, there was to run a summit that we ran that was successful. I mean, that it was a lot of work, but working with Jenny and having her, I think it was like every week we were talking via email or either on a call, keeping that accountability through, because Jenny will tell you, like, a lot of stuff comes up in my life that I'm dealing with. And so keeping me, focused and on task is super key. I think the other thing was, the fact that there was so much, because you guys worked together, there was so much that could be quickly, you guys would chat about it, come to me with my options, and then I could just make a decision, right? Which I think was super important. And I think the biggest thing too is that for me, it's that return on investment. So people go, okay, well, like Jenny said, I can run a summit, I can write my own copy, I can do this myself. I don't necessarily know if this summit's going to make any money. So do I really want to invest in other people? And for me, I came at it from a perspective that I have tried different things on my own. I know my life. I know I need help keeping me focused. I know that this was my conversion rate on my last couple of lead magnets, landing pages. I know that if I invest, I'm going to get back. And that was the key, right? The return on investment from, what I invested in working with you guys came back at 100%. And that's that. Only, right? Mm-hmm. That's only in this immediate summit. That's not just including all the dominoes we just set up, that as I move forward and start to, as I say, harvest all those leads, what that return on investment is going to be.
Exactly.